My name is Elena Vargas. I work at a branch of a major corporation. I had been dating my coworker Bob for 2 years. And today was supposed to be our wedding day. To prepare, I made several trips to the venue. I took care of all the arrangements myself. The only disappointment was that I wanted to choose the wedding dress with Bob. But for some reason he had been very busy and could not join me. So I ended up making most of the decisions alone. I kept telling myself that once we were married we would always be together. On the wedding day I received a call from him. He said he had overslept but the ceremony was about to start. What could I do? I knew he overslept, but when would he arrive? Well, I still feel a bit sleepy, he replied, but I am awake now. I will eat and get ready, so I will be quite late. You must be joking, I said in shock. Can you really leave the ceremony to me alone? Isn't it strange to have a wedding without the groom? No, don't worry, there are weddings like that, right? And if I arrive late, don't get angry. The venue staff were also very worried. Of course I was upset and I told him enough. You are making me not want to marry you. How can I face everyone? It doesn't matter, just start the ceremony by yourself. And with that the call ended. I never expected something like this to happen. I was quite surprised, but since he said he would come I had no choice but to continue with the ceremony. However, his words stayed engraved in my mind. No matter what they meant, despite my worries, I could not reach Bob after that. Even after the wedding ceremony ended he never showed up. And when the reception began there was still no sign of him. What was worse, the half of the guests were people he had invited. And none of them appeared. What is going on? My guests were equally confused, wondering what was happening. The hall filled with an uncomfortable murmur about the wedding. Then a video began playing on the screen showing the wedding with no guests. The worst wedding ever seen. On the screen appeared Bob and a co-worker named Mary. The two of them were sitting very close, laughing mockingly. What is this? Said Bob in the video. Yes, I simply no longer wanted to marry you. Marrying someone poor like you makes no sense when it is much better to marry Mary. That's right, my father is a director. Exactly, your parents are just ordinary employees, right? There is no benefit in marrying a girl from a family like that. So I will marry Mary. It must be very sad to have a wedding alone. But well, it will be a good memory. This is perfect for you. Then Mary intervened. I always wanted Bob, you know. I wanted to date him first, so it was very annoying that he chose you at the beginning. But in the end Bob chose me. Though I wonder who you will celebrate your ceremony with now. They laughed as if it were all a joke. Isn't it funny? This is horrible. How could you come all the way here alone? I didn't even go to the venue with you. Haven't you noticed that we haven't even had a recent date? When you tried to reach me I didn't respond. And still you worked so hard to choose the venue. It is too funny, said Mary in the video. Every time Bob skipped a date with you we laughed together. Sorry, but honestly you have no idea. I had a great time, so thank you for that. Also, I told all my guests to cancel at the last minute. So no matter how long you wait, none of my guests will appear. In the video both laughed as if they could not get enough of how funny they found everything. I stood there unable to comprehend how things had ended up like this. But now I finally understood what Bob meant when he said he would come. No matter what, that is what he really meant. He never planned to marry in the first place. If he felt that way he should have said it from the beginning. This is too cruel. While lowering my head the venue staff approached me and kindly accompanied me to the waiting room. I sat there completely stunned. My parents arrived and with tears running down my face I could barely speak. My father William hugged me tightly. Dad, I am sorry. It's okay, I know this was important. The guests here don't matter, he said with words so kind that they made me cry even harder. Then my father, who is generally so calm, said something unexpected. 22 people, right? 20 guests, Bob and that woman, all from our company. Yes, they are from the branch. Then we will simply dismiss the 22. Upon hearing this I suddenly realized that was an option. He was right, my father could make that happen. I nodded, hoping that Bob and Mary would lose their jobs the next day. I thought if I went to work I would have to see Bob. Not only him but also all my colleagues from the branch. They would surely mock me and there was no way I could face that. So I decided to take the day off as I had already planned. Meanwhile, at the branch, dismissal notices began circulating. 22 people were dismissed at once. And with so many employees gone, it was no surprise that the branch could no longer function properly. All my guests attended the wedding, which resulted in almost half the branch staff being dismissed. As a result, the branch manager was overwhelmed by the workload. In the midst of all this, Bob and Mary confronted the branch manager. "Why are we being dismissed?" The manager, not knowing what to do, replied, "I don't know. I only received direct orders from the president of the company. I have no other choice." Bob and Mary, along with the other 20 employees who also received dismissal notices, ran to the company headquarters hoping that Bob and Mary could resolve the situation. When Bob and Mary arrived at the headquarters and entered the president's office, Bob was surprised to see a face he knew very well. "William, you dare address me so casually," said William with seriousness. "Very well, but why are you here? This is the president's office and regular employees should not be here." Bob tried to respond, but William interrupted him. "Exactly, that is why I am here." "What do you mean?" asked Bob, confused. "Don't you realize I am the president of this company?" "You must be joking. You never told me that." "Did you ever ask?" "Well, no, but I assumed you were a regular employee of the company." "That is your problem. Isn't it strange not to know the face of the president of your own company?" "My face is on the brochures on the website everywhere. How is it possible that you did not know?" "Well, yes, I suppose, but still you could have told me and I would have done the right thing if I had known. I mean, obviously I would have chosen the president's daughter over any other director." "You are a disgrace," responded William seriously. "I am glad you did not marry my daughter. If you had, you would eventually have run this company. But I could not entrust the lives of 1,000 employees to someone like you." "Could I have been president?" asked Bob, incredulous. "Yes, I was considering it, depending on your work performance after the marriage. If you proved worthy of the position." "I cannot believe it. I let the golden opportunity slip from my hands." "Yes, so it seems," said William firmly, "but too bad it did not work." "Now you are Mary, right? The daughter of Director Thomas?" "Yes, I am his daughter." "And you are really going to marry this guy?" "Yes, because I love him." "Well, good luck with that, because both of you will be unemployed soon." "Wait, William, why are you dismissing us?" "This is an unfair dismissal." "Unfair dismissal? Do not make me laugh. After humiliating Catherine like that, do you really think you do not deserve to be dismissed? And you, Mary, are no different. Even though you are Thomas's daughter, you disrespected my family and every one of the guests who cancelled yesterday." "Yes, all of them are dismissed too." "You are dismissing us because of yesterday?" "Exactly. How could I tolerate that someone capable of doing something like that continues as an employee of this company? There is no way I can forgive that. I am so sorry, please forgive us, do not dismiss us. It is too late for that. You humiliated Catherine with that ridiculous video and now you want to apologize just to avoid being dismissed. You should have foreseen this after what you did." "No, I was not thinking about that at all." "Then clearly you took all this too lightly. When you hurt someone, it is natural to face the consequences. Being dismissed is the most reasonable result, do you not think? Please, William, the first beg you, enough. Get out of my sight. You are no longer employees here and I do not want to see your faces ever again." "But William, if you do not leave now, I will call security." "Fine, we are leaving." Bob and Mary had no choice but to leave the president's office and return to the branch. There the 20 employees were waiting for Bob and Mary. And upon hearing the reason for their dismissal, they were shocked and furious, realizing that everything was caused by the actions of those two. Although the 22 employees left the company branch crying, Bob could not accept it. "Mary, can't you ask your father for help? He is the director, so maybe he can revoke our dismissals." "Yes, I will try to talk to him," responded Mary, trying to stay optimistic. Mary contacted her father, Thomas, the director. However, when she finished the call, she burst into tears. "What happened?" asked Bob. "My father got angry with me. He said it is natural that we were dismissed after doing something so stupid. And that it is ridiculous to expect only us to be saved. Also, he told me not to contact him ever again. He has cut ties with me completely." "So you are no longer the daughter of?" "Yes, I suppose that means he has disowned me." "Then there is no point in marrying you," said Bob. "What are you saying? You only wanted to marry me because I was the director's daughter." "Exactly, I told you before. What other appeal do you have? But we are family, surely one day we will repair our relationship." "I am sure we will be fine because we are still family," said Bob. Mary thought for a moment and he was right. "Yes, you are right. If we make an effort, eventually he might forgive you and perhaps help me return to the company." "Exactly, my father has always loved me. It all depends on how we handle things. Yes, if we stay happily married, things will change for us." "All right, let's get married immediately, but there will be no wedding ceremony." "Why not? After what we did to William's daughter, do you think it would be appropriate to have our own ceremony?" "That would put your father in an awkward position." And there is no way Thomas would attend while he is angry. So there is no point. It would only be a waste of money. Mary felt a little disappointed, but she swallowed her feelings, thinking that marrying Bob was worth it. 6 years passed and Mary still had a strange relationship with her father. Still, Bob was determined to repair the relationship. He sent gifts for Father's Day, Mother's Day, birthdays and Christmas, always accompanied by letters expressing his regret and remorse. One day when Bob and Mary's son started kindergarten, that was when unexpectedly they ran into Catherine again. "Why is Catherine here? You are the president's daughter. Shouldn't you send your son to a fancy private school and not to a normal kindergarten like this?" "Oh Mary, you married Bob." "Yes, thanks to you my parents disowned me." "Well, that is understandable after all you did what you did." "Then what are you doing here?" "Just because my parents are rich does not mean I am. I want my son to grow up like everyone else. So I enrolled him in a regular kindergarten program. That is, I am rich, but I pretend to be humble. I never said my husband is just an ordinary common employee. Whatever, stay away from me. Seeing you gives me goosebumps. That is harsh. You too, Bob, and I were dismissed because of you. All that was because of the horrible things you did. But do not worry, I have no intention of approaching you." With that I took my daughter's hand and walked out of the kindergarten. But Mary watched us as we walked away. Later I asked what was wrong. She said no one wanted to play with her. I wondered what had happened. I tried to approach the other mothers, but no one responded to my calls. Something was wrong. Eventually I got in touch with my closest friend, who told me that it was all because of Mary. It seems Mary has been telling the other mothers to exclude me. And now my daughter is also being left out. That is how she wants to play. Very well, I will not let it pass. Years ago I let it pass, but this time no. Do not mess with my child. I will make sure you regret it. I hired a private investigator. After some time the investigator's report arrived. This is interesting. I have learned something quite amusing. Better remember this. With that I decided to take action. A few days later I received a call from Bob. "Why did you tell Mary's parents about our debts?" "I just sent an envelope. I have not even met them." "Then how could I talk to them?" "You sent the investigator's report. It seems you did not realize that. Mary's parents seem to be quite strict. Wouldn't it have been a shame for them not to know the truth?" "Do you not think I was so close? I was so close to making things work with Thomas, but now thanks to you everything is ruined. If that is how you feel, you should blame Mary. All this happened because your wife messed with my son. That is why I made sure your shopping habits were also revealed. It is the same principle. You think everything you two do is fine, but what I do is the only thing that is wrong. That is quite hypocritical, do you not think? But I worked very hard. That is the point. If you had not done what you did 6 years ago, Thomas would not hate you now. It all started with you. But I worked very hard. Everyone works hard. You are not the only one. I also worked hard during the last 6 years. We are all in the same boat. But you really had to tell him about the gambling. I told you I did not say anything. I only sent the documentation. You get what you give. 6 years ago I could not do anything, but now I can. Especially when it comes to protecting my child. I will do whatever is necessary. That is cruel. Cruel, compared to being left at the wedding. I think this is nothing. Back then I felt as if my life had ended. So Mary was scolded by her parents. That is a small thing, especially because they have ignored me for 6 years. This is more of the same, right? Or were you planning to keep lying to him? I was working very hard to get back into the competition with Thomas's help. You ruined all my efforts. So my daughter was hurt by your wife and you expect me to worry about your efforts? That was Mary, not me. I did nothing. You are a married couple. You are in this together. If I have to spend another 6 or 10 years on this, I will never return to the company. Let me tell you something. No matter how much you try to win over Thomas, even if he lets you return to the company, my father never will. He is still angry with you. This is terrible for my life. That is the nature of revenge, is it not? It is not pretty. Why are you doing this? I never thought you were so cruel. Coming from you, I do not believe it. It is a fair judgment. But this is too much. Do not be so dramatic. This is only the beginning. It is far from over. What is only the beginning? Exactly, my revenge against you and your wife has barely begun. What do you plan to do? I will do whatever it takes. The things will happen on their own without me lifting a finger. Enough. Do not ruin my life more than you already have. I already told you I will not do anything more than wait and watch as the little tower you have built collapses so easily. I hung up the phone. Bob shouted at the end, but I only smiled softly. A few days later, a sealed envelope was delivered to Bob's mailbox. It was addressed to Mary. She opened it. Honey, what is this? What is wrong? What do you mean, what is wrong? Look at this. What are you talking about? She pushed the contents into Bob's hands. It was a photo of Bob laughing and cuddling with another woman, along with a report showing undeniable proof. In front of her, Mary's face twisted with anger as she screamed. You have been cheating on me? Well, I am here now. Of course not. Why would I cheat? This must be some kind of joke. Maybe it is Photoshop. I have never cheated. Bob forced a smile, but it was forced. Mary continued accusing him relentlessly. But then, as if it were the perfect moment, Bob's phone rang. It is a call from a woman, said Mary with a sinking feeling. Bob opened his phone. There was a message from an unknown number. She read with quite curiosity. Bob opened it and found an attached video that showed Mary entering and leaving a hotel with a man he did not recognize. They were sitting very close, with shoulders touching, drinking happily and kissing occasionally. Now this was undeniable proof. What is this? You are the one cheating. What are you talking about? Mary turned pale when Bob showed her the video. Her lips trembled and she forced an awkward smile. You have been accusing me, but it turns out you have been cheating too, is that not right? No, it is not like that. I did nothing like that. This has to be some kind of joke, obviously. Although they exchanged nervous laughs, both remained silent, knowing that pursuing the topic would only be counterproductive. From that day on, without wanting to, they began to distance themselves from each other. At the kindergarten, I noticed that Mary's son seemed confused. Mom and Dad no longer talk. Why do they not talk even though they are so close? He asked. Every time I heard that, I could not help but smile to myself. Some time later, when I was returning from dropping my son at kindergarten, Bob was waiting for me. He looked disheveled, and his dress shirt and suit wrinkled made him look more like a single man than a married one. Oh, Bob, what are you looking for? It is quite hard. What happened to Mary because of you? My marriage is ruined because of my fault. How is that? Because you sent those things. What things? I have done nothing. It was you. You put those photos of me with another woman in my mailbox and sent me the video of Mary's affair. I did none of that. You got the wrong person. No, definitely it was you. Do you have any proof? If I put those photos in your mailbox, your security camera would have captured me. No, we do not have a camera. Then you have no evidence. How do you know how the photos arrived at your mailbox? They arrived by mail, so it could have been someone who wanted to do a handwriting analysis. I agree with that. And what about the video? It was sent from my email. No, it was not. Then you cannot say it was me. You did nothing like that. Besides, you should be glad you discovered that Mary was cheating on you. No, and since there is a video of your affair, that means you were cheating too. So you do not even have grounds to complain to me. If it were not for that, we would still be a happy couple. Everything would have been fine, but a fake marriage maybe would have fallen apart eventually. Thanks to you, Mary is asking for divorce. Well, you have someone else. Why not be happy with them like you did 6 years ago? You only choose people who benefit you. No, it is not that I have an endless supply of options. I am also getting older, you know. Which is one more reason to enjoy this. It could be your last romance. I wanted to spend the rest of my life with Mary. Now everything is falling apart. I told you I did nothing. The truth, really, I did not. All I did was send the investigation report to Mary's parents and then wait for the right moment to send Bob and Mary the photos and videos when the relationship was already unstable. But honestly, I did not expect it to work perfectly. If Mary divorces me, I will never be able to return to the company. You are still thinking you could return to the company? No matter what you do, it is impossible. I will never let you return. It is your fault. You destroyed everything that happened to me. It is because you blame others for everything. It is pathetic. Say what you want. I will make sure you understand how much I hate you. You should hate Mary, not me. If she had not done something so stupid, I would not have done it. I did not plan to drag you to hell. And I did not even hold a grudge. I am happy enough without having to do that. Why can you be happy when I am so miserable? It is not my problem. I will never forgive you. He looked at me with pure hatred. For the first time, I thought things might be getting serious. Then Bob lunged at me. He threw a punch that I could not dodge in time and I fell to the ground. While others screamed, some even took out their phones to record the scene. Bob, if you continue like this, your photo will be all over social media. Is that what you want? Hitting me, that is assault. Be frustrated, Bob said in a low voice and ran away. A nearby person saw me sitting on the ground trembling with fear and approached to check on me, offering some words of comfort. After thanking them, I managed to stand up and return home. Once at home, I checked social media and saw that the incident with Bob had already been posted online with a video. I can press charges. It is time for revenge. I went straight to the police and told them I was the person in the video and that Bob had assaulted me. I filed an official complaint for assault. I also called my father and he rushed to the police station. I knew the police were already familiar with him. As the daughter of the CEO and the victim, it became a big issue. The police moved quickly to arrest Bob. Before I knew it, he was already in custody. Bob was busy with police interrogation and other legal matters. But when I went to visit him, he began to cry and beg. I was wrong. I beg you, please resolve this outside the courts. You must go to your lawyer for that. I cannot afford a lawyer. There is always a public defender. They never do a good job. Well, that is difficult, but I am not here to reach an agreement. I came to tell you, why do you not settle? I feel no reason for you to hit me, and that is a fact. Then why should I forgive you? You also hurt my daughter's feelings, and that is also a fact. If this continues, I will lose my job. You betrayed me and hurt my child. You deserve to fall into hell. Do not say that. Mary is asking for divorce. I already heard. This is nothing new. My parents said they are also going to cut ties with me. I really deserve all this. Since you clearly do not understand the damage you have caused, maybe some time in prison will give you the opportunity to reflect. Even after that, Bob kept begging for an agreement. So I mentioned an amount. Mary refused, saying they could not pay such a high amount for Bob's sake. As a result, the negotiations failed and Bob was sentenced to prison. After being sentenced, he was forced to sign the divorce papers that Mary brought him at the end of his process. No one came to visit him and he spent 15 years behind bars. However, when he thought he could finally live in peace after his release, he faced a new challenge. Mary's demands for alimony and child support. Mary reconciled with her parents, who helped her hire a lawyer and demanded a large sum for both. In addition, her parents constantly scolded Bob, saying that marrying him had been a great mistake that took a toll on her emotionally. After enduring 15 years, he was finally released. But life was not kind. He could not find work due to the stigma of being a convicted criminal. And he could not pay the money he owed to Mary. They pressured him to borrow money to make a lump sum payment. But without the means to do so, he worked part-time and accepted a night shift at a factory. Finally, he suffered a tragic accident that caused an injury to his arm. Even then, he could not pay the debt. And now he lives alone in a dark and narrow apartment, barely surviving. In contrast, my husband took over my father's company. And I live in peace as the wife of the CEO. Looking back, I feel really fortunate not to have married a cheater like that. Thank you for listening to today's story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. See you in the next story.